In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our
Hello, are you hearing me? It don't seem as if I'm hearing you. I'm not so sure by the audio. I might need to. Oh, yeah. Hello? Oh, right. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I am hearing you now. I'm hearing you loud now and clear. I'm not so sure why. Let me see if I can just bring over my camera
Okay.
and see if this works.
I see the floor.
Right, I'm not so sure why I'm not talking. Camera spin around. Do this. Something quickly. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I hear you. Just don't see you. I see a green background.
I'm wondering because you were just on, so let me just see if the video setting has changed. I just put on. Strange. What's happening here? Just give me a second. Let me just switch machine and see if it is from my side. Technically, huh? Okay. Who? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
Great. I don't, technology have a way of this, of causing havoc at times, and not so sure what happened there.
Yes, sir. You're actually kind of dark though. We can't really see your face, but I see you sitting there. I see your background. Is there anything you'd like to add to your biography?
Not necessarily. I think it's give a quick summary of um of my background and my present position and the role that I play currently.
Okay. Well, let's just hop into this. So we
You
can
were saying that my background is it any better now?
say it again.
I was asking if the background is any better now. You were saying that you were not able to see.
Yeah, I can see your background, but also I can see you a little bit better as well. Like you turned on a light or something.
Right, I'm going to see if I can if I can just increase get a better lighting. Oh yeah, this must be better.
There we go. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. So let me do the minor spin. Ah, yeah. I think this must be. Thanks for your patience.
Yes, sir. I can see you.
Yes.
So, can you start out by telling us? Can you share a bit about your journey into the fields of finance and IT, and what inspired you to pursue these areas?
Well, interestingly, I think it's a matter of coincidence that I end up in finance. However, as a child growing up, my
Mm-hmm.
first preference was to become a medical doctor.
Uh-huh.
But then recognizing that it was very costly to go to medical school. So, so I decided that when I did my, what we used to call young people analysis in terms of, a lot of times people ask you, what you want to be? And the standard thing, either I'm going to be a policeman or a doctor or a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was very intrigued with mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
And then having gone through high school, recognizing that I need to find another career path, coincidentally, where I used to live, there was a public accounting firm next door. At that time, it was Delight and Touche,
Uh-huh.
and I was very intrigued with the workers coming in and going out, and yeah, and so my desire for accounting, was peaked a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then after graduating from school, I did economics and recognized that yes, this is a field that I think I like. And so I entered the professional exams, the chartered accounting exams. After that, I went and I did a couple of IT courses because at the time, it was about bridging the gap between manual and technology in the early 90s. And
Mm-hmm.
so, unlike today, when most of our youngsters literally go to school using a computer,
Mm-hmm.
we had to pay to go to our first computer class. Eh?
Right.
But it was
Right.
very important. It was at the time we were bridging the gap between manual and technology. And so that also piqued my interest in terms of the level of efficiency that it drives. At that time, Lotus, if persons recognize Lotus versus Excel, was an excellent tool for accountants in terms of spreadsheet. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, I joined Ernst and Young and went through audit, um, spent some time there, then went into consulting. And I think consulting really gave me that 360-degree vision in terms of what the real finance profession is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided that I want to test my craft. And so I joined the private sector as financial controller for a group. And in 2002, I decided that I have a very keen interest in professional services.
Okay.
So that's how Dargen was formed, 2nd of September 2002. We
Mm-hmm.
started out as a small bookkeeping one staff firm, and I was the staff member. And we grow since then. I mean, from a small bookkeeping, we add consulting, we grow at different divisions. We also join different affiliations in terms of international affiliations. Make a from Jeffries Henry International, then we did a co-branding with UHY, and then our last affiliation was with Crow Howard for our Jamaica and Trinidad firm. And then in 2018, when we look at our 10-year strategy, we decided that we want to create a global brand that we own and control and can create a culture of its own. And hence, that's how the Dargen Global brand was formed, and our firm was rebranded Dargen Global. And we started our expansion plan and to just serve the global community in terms of finance strategy, expansion, business coaching, just to be that friend for business entrepreneurs. So a lot of us as entrepreneurs have specific knowledge in terms of finance or strategy or IT and technology and transformation, but there are some entrepreneurs who does not have that skill set and rely on professional service firms like ours to guide them. So we see our role almost as their board of directors in the background. We guide them. We are their almost go-to consultant for on a 360-degree basis, looking at business from setup to growth to expansion to recovery to strategy to diversification and also exit strategy. So that's the role we play. We really help entrepreneurs shine while we in the background. Yes, we don't take their shine. We allow them to shine. And so you find, like, so for example, our business coach, which is now a line item that we provide coaching services for entrepreneur, globally, whether you are in Jamaica, the Caribbean, US, Africa, wherever you are, and the technology allows us to be your go-to strategy person. And our expertise is wide, yes? Very, very wide, from setup to accounting to risk to audit. So our firm is structured in several divisions. So we have Dawkins auditors, which is the compliance department that do audit, etc. Then we have Dawkins advisors, which is what we call the consulting arm that deal with from setup, as I said, to business growth, strategy, marketing, you name it, all of those core functions that require you to generate wealth and to keep it, actually. And then we have the technology, which is becoming more relevant now as businesses cannot really function efficiently without a blend of technology. And then we have the coaching division, which we have now created as a unique division because of its diverse nature. And because we believe in that one-to-one coaching, and we believe in crafting a roadmap that is specific to each client, each individual. So our coaching scenario is not a classroom scenario where you get 10 persons and you're telling them about a topic. Our coaching scenario is private, one-to-one. Tell me where you are now. Where do you want to go? It's specific driven. It is KPI driven. It's strictly key performance indicators. So my sale is $10 today. I said to you, where do you want to go in 24 months? You tell me you want to make $50. I go and I draft a plan to show you how you get to that $50. But most important, milestones to get to that plan. So wherever you are, you might be a scenario where you are running a company and you're struggling. Things have changed, business have changed, the environment have changed, the competitive landscape, and you now need a strategy. We will now need to evaluate where you are. Recall that position statement. The now, the now. Where am I? Where am I going? Where do I want to go? And then we might end up with a recovery strategy and then a growth strategy. But irrespective of where you are, we believe that the ultimate aim is to generate wealth and to grow the wealth in order for the betterment of all stakeholders. Both the entrepreneurs and the other stakeholders, as you would recognize. That is very funny. There are a lot. Each entrepreneur empower a long list of persons, from employees, got to government. People rely and they do play a significant part in the whole wealth generation and improving the standard of living. And especially in this time, not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yes,
right. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. But everybody can join that entrepreneur journey in one way or another. Whether you're a support team member, you're an employee, but you're all part of the entrepreneur journey. As it take a team. While some businesses can say that, it can be a one runner, a 100-meter sprint, but for most substantive, value-driven business, is a team approach. And so with that team approach, each individual have a critical part to play. And that is what drive revenue in terms of sustainability and value added.
Okay, so what early experiences shaped your interest in consulting and entrepreneurship?
Well, the early experience I would say would have been joining um, Ernst and Young at
Mhm.
um, at the age of 21, 22, and being in audit. I went through the junior rank pretty quickly, um, as my interest was peaking, trying to learn everything quickly, and then having spent 4 years, then I was transferred as consultant to the consulting department. The difference between the consulting department, now you are now getting into strategy and result in terms of guiding businesses and assisting them to solve their problem, to make smarter decisions that have lasting impact. So I think my whole experience there
Mhm.
would have shaped the foundation to
Okay.
create an entity that I lead and grow. And that's how the Dargen comes in, into Dargen Global, where I currently sit as the executive chairman,
Mhm.
responsible for growth and strategy and basically wealth creation.
So, how did your educational background prepare you for your career in finance and IT?
Yeah, and I think we did, from what we'd call high school days by doing accounting, business studies, and then immediately after that, I went to the University of the West Indies and I did a certificate in business studies. I think that was a game changer for me because that business studies courses that cover at the time 11 key components, and those 11 key components was broad in terms of from marketing to IT to finance, which is core hardcore finance,
Mhm.
to human resources, industrial relations, law, economics, and at the
So,
time,
mhm.
strategy development. In those days, business studies focus on growth. How do you grow? Because there was a growth agenda. There was a very aggressive growth agenda. And how do you grow? By expansion, internationalization, where you're moving, going beyond borders. I think those preliminary courses, and then my chartered accounting studies also help. Importantly, after that, I did my PhD in finance and
Mhm.
management, which was broad, and it comprises core finance, technology, and management and internationalization. So that now become almost the anchor for
Mhm.
this modern global operation.
So, with the course being so broad and it being so much for you to have to get, when you enter the University of West Indies, do you think that, with the way the course was designed, do you think that it was the broadness of the actual course that actually helped you to solidify the foundation that you was looking to build?
Yes, I think so, because what it does is really give you a foundation,
Hmm.
almost a 360-degree global overview. And with
Hmm.
that solid foundation, you're able to build on top of it. So it's similar, so it's coming like, a person need a house and
Hmm.
you have intention that you want a 7 bedroom. The first thing is that foundation. You might go 2 story, then pause, then keep on building. But if you have that good foundation, so I think the good thing about it is that you were not only specializing in one core, but you were seeing all the facet of management.
Right,
Yes, all the
right.
facet of management. Because while you can be an excellent accountant,
Hmm.
accounting is historical, technically. You are accounting for what already occurred. Yes, in terms of financial accounting. Now, when you talk about looking into the future, projection, budgeting, forecasting, yes,
Yes, sir.
blend that into economics and the factors of demand and globalization and competition, yes, and the
Yeah.
market forces. So, for example, if you don't have an idea, or any entrepreneur now who don't have an idea of market forces, the competitive forces, yes,
Right.
then you might find that this year you are making $1 million US in profit.
Right.
Yes. And then you see things happening and your profitability is going down and you wonder what is happening. And if you don't have that broad idea, even though you might not be the one to that study or that review, you must be aware that you need now to get into the why. Yes. What are the drivers? What is happening in my environment? Why is it change? And because of those changes, now what can I do? Yeah. What strategy you're going to implement and how you're going to do it and how quickly can you do it? And also importantly, what are your constraining factors? What are those factors that will prevent you from doing what you really want to do? But then you will take those limited conditions and you'll craft a strategy that comply with what you have now. And a lot of times you just need to start,
Right.
some people can accelerate quickly. Some
Right.
people can make one step. So it doesn't matter how long you take to reach your destination. Yes. You will
So,
reach.
yes, sir. So, what key skills have you developed that you believe are essential for success in your career?
Oh, well, I'll say key skill is the ability to assess past transactions, is the ability to assess your current environment, is the ability to have a global overview of the world, because gone are the days you just need to know about your current jurisdiction. And importantly, is the ability to design strategy.
Right.
But not only designing the strategy, but also executing it. Because a lot of times you can design strategy, you can have case studies upon case study, you can have reports upon reports, you can have 7 recommendations, but there is a special skill when it comes on to execution.
Oh, wow.
One of the greatest shortcomings with management is the ability to successfully execute a strategy. I believe that if you only have one skill set that is critical, is the ability to execute the strategy that is designed and execute it successfully. Now, executing successfully means that you have the ability to assess where you are. You have the ability to be agile and to make changes or recommend changes quickly. If you're on the wrong road, stop, assess, turn back. It is the wrong road. The ability to make the tough decision is an asset.
Oh, wow. So, can you do us a favor for those that are listening? Can you just give them some ideas of what are some of those steps, like 1 through 4 or 1 through 5? What are some of those steps that they should be thinking about when it comes to, as you're saying, to strategize and put these plans together and then execute? What are some 5 things that they should know?
Okay, so irrespective of the business that you are in, whether you're a barber, whether you're a distribution store, whether or not you are in transportation, okay, or whether or not you are in construction, yeah. One of the key things you need to do is a position statement, and I will explain a position statement.
Okay.
Position statement doesn't mean that you're going to sit and craft on figures.
Okay.
Position statement is broader than figure. And a lot of people will say, oh, position statement, account, I have to get accountant to do it. No. The first thing you do is to do what we call a position statement.
Mm-hmm.
Take an hour, jot down, make a note of what you are in. What type of business am I in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Oh, yes? So the what.
Right.
Decide the what. Yes?
Okay.
Then the next question is, who do I serve?
Okay.
Which is your customers. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when you determine that what, then who do I serve?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
That's too critical. Because a lot of times, sometimes we don't zero in into who our customers are. And if you don't know who your customers are, then you won't be able to assess the environment, internally changes that is occurring within your customer scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because, everybody can have a Kodak moment.
Right.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Then, third, why? You must, within your own words, within your own knowledge, determine your why. Why am I in this business?
Okay.
Your why.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that question is very difficult.
Yeah,
It might be the hardest question because you have never asked yourself. Huh?
I say that too can be pretty broad. The why.
It's very broad. The why.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the why.
Yes, sir.
Why am I in it? And some person might say, okay, how do I do that? But if I give an example, yes, when you're evaluating your why, yes, you might say, well, I have to make a living. That is a why. The why can also be, this is what I know, this is the only thing I know to do.
Right.
Yes? And
right.
the other things that say, I really enjoy what I am doing. Now, anybody who is listening and the answer to their why is that I enjoy what I'm doing, it means that they are no longer working. They are not stressed, The energy is low. They ain't working anymore, It's no longer work. Yes?
Yes, sir.
But in answering that why and determine who you serve, you have to focus on the value that you provide to your stakeholders.
Okay.
And the stakeholders, the stakeholders are your customers, your workers, government, everybody will benefit from what you are doing.
Yes.
You are creating value. It is my belief that if you create value for others, you don't need to worry about how you are going to create your value. If you focus on creating value for others, you will create value for yourself. So the consulting profession is broad, and if you have consultants listening out there, if consultants focus on making millionaires and billionaires, they don't need to worry if they are going to be millionaires and billionaires.
Right.
Yes? By creating that value, you'll get some for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah? So you're talking about the why. Why do you? So you're talking about what do I do? Yeah, the why. And the next important point, yes, is to analyze your position, your strength and the weakness. What are the issues you are having now? What is preventing you from reaching your ultimate? Where do you want to go? It is not about where you are now. It's where you want to go. It's not about what has happened to you over the last 10, 15 years, how much money you have lost or what you did wrong. All of that is irrelevant. It is now. Where am I now? What are my capabilities? Where do I want to go? And just focus on that. Now, you might say, but how do I do it? Even if you are going to get help, the first thing that you need to do is to sit quietly. And I'm going to say this. You know, with technology, we have our computers, we have our tablets, and we have our laptops and so on. When you are getting into what I term this primary self-assessment, get a notebook and a pen.
Okay.
Don't type it. Don't. No. You need it to be intimate. You need an intimate moment with yourself in assessing where you are. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes. After you jot down the points, you will be forced to refine those points because you'll be doing it in summary. Yes. Don't do the self-assessment in noise. Don't call a friend and say, come, let's discuss this. No, do it on your own. One sheet. And I tell you, you're not going to write 10 pages. It must not be more than on one sheet of paper. If you're going over to 2 papers, stop. You're including irrelevant things. One sheet of paper for that initial assessment. One sheet. After you have done that, so in other words, don't try to get into how you're going to solve it on that sheet. If you read 2 sheets, you are getting into how you're solving it. Yeah? You are doing your position statement.
Okay.
What we sometimes I call it your fly sheet. Yes? One sheet of paper. If you end up on 2 sheets, you need to go back and condense that to 1. And that's also a part of the process. Yeah? That's also a part of the process. Yes? Now, putting it together allow you to start to focus on the business. A lot of times, and I'm going to say entrepreneurs because it is real. Entrepreneurs spend all their time working in the business instead of working on the business. There's a difference between working in the business and working on the business. When you're working in the business, and I use a scenario, so you get your first job to do, and you hold your head down and you spend so it's going to take you a month. You spend 1 month, for example, just doing that job. Hey, guess what? You just realized you spend 1 month doing the job instead of allocating your time and spend 80% of your time doing the job, but 20% of the time building the business to get another job before you complete this job.
Oh, okay.
I want to make it as simple as
starting little fires.
Yes, I want to make it as simple as possible. Yes, these are the challenges that entrepreneurs face. Okay, and the next key thing for their own well-being, I always say this to entrepreneurs: you must always maintain your vault.
Your voice?
Vault.
Oh.
What do I call the vault?
Okay.
So every business, even if they are making losses, they have flows of funds. Funds come in. What do you do with those funds? And sometimes people say, oh, Dr. Brown, don't say that. I say to them that if you get $100, one of the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs have now, business people have now, is sometimes managing their payables. They owe 20,000, is overdue, and they collect only 10. The question, what do you do with the 10? Do you take it and pay one person? And then
no, you got to pay more than one person.
So it's always good to analyze your suppliers in terms of latent suppliers and other suppliers. The latent are the core ones, the ones that are critical to the business. Yeah. But when you are allocating that $20 that you collect, you must always, as a strategy, retain 10% of your collection. Only spend 90%. It's a hard. Some people say, oh, but that's hard, I can't. No. Maintain 10%. Only spend 90%. Because if you're a struggling entrepreneur, we talk about advice and strategy. Yeah. There's a difference with your energy when your bank account is $0 as against when it is 10.
Gotcha.
You're a human being.
Gotcha. So basically, that's like the fail safe before the fail safe, where you know where you get to the point where you got to cut it off.
Yes. So if you practice that, or if you have not been practicing it, start it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Just assume you only have 90% of what you collect.
Right.
The other 10% go in the vault. Yes. The vault is for your emergency.
Okay.
Because remember, a lot of entrepreneurs, if they are not careful.
So let's transition over into your finance insights. Can you tell us what trends do you see currently shaping the finance industry, and how should professionals adapt?
Oh yeah, we have finances now completely different than what it was, in the sense that we now have different what we call category of finance. The digitalization and digital asset is now a big issue and is here to stay.
Okay.
One of the challenges we have in finance is, how do you manage digital assets?
Yes.
How do you transition from having $20 in cash as against having only a card? How you transition in terms of accumulating wealth? So gone are the days when it's only large multinational companies that invest in stocks or keep some of their wealth in cash. In the world of finance, now is relevant to everybody, but more so important, you cannot manage finance without documentation.
True. Record
you cannot
keeping
manage finance without documentation. So the first step in dealing with finance and the changes, you have to ensure that you have proper record keeping. And one of the issues that has creeped into finance is regulatory changes, regulations. So for example, in several jurisdictions, you have legislation that surround anti-money laundering, proceeds of crime. So while you can generate wealth and have it, you have to ensure that you have the documentation to show how you get that wealth. So finance, in terms of historical record keeping, which is what accountants does, that's one issue. And there's a lot of change in that in terms of technology is assisting us with a lot of that. So gone are the days when you have to have 5 persons who is doing the bank reconciliation. But I must warn anybody out there who is not doing bank reconciliation on a timely basis, they are playing with fire.
Oh, you got that right. Let me, as you say that, let me tell you, I had a client, and this is not a lie. I had a client that had not reconciled. Dr. Brown hadn't reconciled in 6 months to a year. And trying to go back and reconstruct and make that work was the hardest thing in the world. I could not make that work. I just gave up and I said, I can't help you.
But importantly, so in finance now have more risk. What am I talking about? With digitalization and digital transaction, yes, if you are not checking all the items that come into your bank account to make sure that they are legitimate and they are your transaction, and so you can identify errors and revert to your institution for reversal, you will lose a lot of money over time. Interestingly, you say 6 months. There are some persons who have not done it for all 3 years.
Yes.
Guess what?
Oh, wow.
They might have lost a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yes, because also there can be duplications. And if you don't know what is happening in your bank account, how are you going to know the different charges? So a lot of even small SMEs have not factored in the costs of bank charges and so on into the pricing of their goods.
Exactly.
Because they are not aware of it.
Right. Let me ask you this question, because what's interesting is I see that you've got a really good stable plan in basically how you're operating. Is it safe to say that with you guys, with your firm, that you have 7 different departments? So if you
we have 5 main divisions.
Okay, 5 divisions.
And they specialize and they are staffed by professionals and specialist staff. Yes. And so you might find that a company who need our services, yes, we operate what we call a multidisciplinary professional firm. So from one assignment, you might need an HR specialist.
Right.
You might have your workers who don't have contracts, who doesn't have any proper performance measurement. Yes. You might recognize that you don't have an accounting system. So that's where IT comes in. Yes. You might recognize that also, that while you have an accounting package, and we have seen this, persons go and buy an online accounting package. And they say, yes, I have it now. They know how to enter the payments, but they don't know how to set up their balance sheet.
Oh, wow.
They don't know how to set up their general ledger. They don't know how to set up their invoicing properly. Yeah. So you might need help to configure that system for you, and then you can now use it because it's already set up. It's turnkey. Yes. But a lot of times it needs to be customized. Okay. In addition, you might have persons who are not doing proper costing. So they might be selling a product for $5, and they are selling it for $5 for the last 7 years. They have not changed the $5. But as you know, inflation has been running at a level, okay? And you might not be making any profit from that item, and that item is a loss maker. But because you have other items you're not even recognized. Now, give and take. There are some items that are complementary goods and you have to carry it. And the margin is not, excellent, but it is important to drive the sale of another item. But you must have the information to make that decision. Nothing is wrong in deciding to sell something at a loss, but you must know that you're selling at a loss. You don't want to wait until 12 months after when you're doing the financial. You recognize that you make a loss. You must agree that you're making a loss, but you must decide that that loss is strategic.
See, that's it. That's interesting because, I think that when it comes down to it overall, I think sometimes, let's say when you're building and you're growing and you're thinking about, as you was talking about, just, when you have to get rid of something as a loss and so forth. I think what's happening a lot of time in business is that there are a whole bunch of people, a whole lot of entrepreneurs or owners. If they're not having really good record keeping, they're really not understanding that process. And so what happens is they wound up either holding on to something that's got no value, or it causes a problem with that that's going to cause them to really lose money in the long term.
Yes.
And so when you talk about these identifiers, what are these identifiers that they should be looking for?
Good. So, and let me just make this very clear. We are not saying that every entrepreneur has to become an accountant or an HR specialist or an IT specialist. Okay.
Right.
But if you don't know that is important, you will not know when to seek help from the professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, a lot of times as a small business, you can't hire a full-time IT person. You can't hire a full-time accountant, and you don't need to do that. That's where professional firms come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, firms like our firm, where we have SME package, and we can come in and give you a full house package. And a full house package means we cover HR, we cover tax, we cover technology, we cover every function of the business that require attention, and we provide you with reports. So sometimes you have to look at efficiency. What is it that the person loves? Mm-hmm. And if the person loves something, it doesn't make any sense to break them. But they must be aware. So they must be aware of what they need. And that's where the consultants and the coaches come in, where every month or every 2 weeks, the report is prepared and they sit down and you go through it with them. And they understand what they now need to adjust. And they go out and they see the result, because it is my belief that the result is always shown in the bank account.
Right. Very simple.
That is it. That is the easiest. That is the easiest, the best KPI measurement.
Right.
Your profitability. But I must also say this too.
Mm-hmm.
It is important for entrepreneurs to be aware of the impact of taxes. Because a lot of times the business can be structured, yes, in a tax efficient way, but because you didn't organize, you not even know the tax benefit that you can get. And so you end up not maximizing your return on your investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Because it is good to plan. Tax planning is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? And while there's a controversy about tax evasion and tax avoidance, tax avoidance is legal. Nothing is wrong with it. Tax avoidance is important to generate profit and to keep most of what you generate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? However, if you don't put the system in place, the structure, to avoid that cost, and then you don't pay it, then it's evasion, and that is what is illegal.
Yes.
Tax evasion is illegal. But it's important that you understand the thing that you need to look at. One, revenue. You must, and you don't want to get too complicated. So I'm just going to keep it to 4 levels.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue, costs,
mm-hmm.
and net profit.
Yes, sir.
Importantly, too, when you get your financial statements, and I'm going to say this, and I want people to listen to this carefully. Don't worry yourself trying to understand too much of the balance sheet. Mm-hmm. Don't worry yourself trying to understand too much of the profit and loss. Mm-hmm. There's one key statement that tells the full story, and is what you call a cash flow statement.